The story starts in a world full of magic, and all humans use magic on a daily basis. In this world, there existed a boy who did not fit the concept of the world. He lived in the forest and his name was Mash. He trained like crazy every day, and his favorite food was cream puffs. Then we see Mash's father, Regro Bernadette. He was 75 years old. He drank tea and said that nothing can upset him anymore because of his accumulated life experience. Suddenly, Mash accidentally destroyed the door. His father was angry with Mash and asked why he had destroyed the door. So Mash replied that he forgot whether to push or pull to open the door. Then Mash tried to fix the door and Mash was a bit clumsy and accidentally destroyed the door. So Mash apologized to his father. After that, his father asked if Mash had completed his training schedule for the day. Then Mash wanted to know why all of his workouts are physical. His father didn't want to tell him that he's not an ordinary person who can't use magic. Then his father wanted to go into town and said that he shouldn't break the door again. Mash said he already have forgotten if he have to pull or push to open the door. Before his father went into town, he forbid Mash from going into town alone. When his father was gone, he looked at a flyer about cream puffs. Following that, Mash decided to break his promise, and he wanted to go into town to buy some delicious cream puffs. Mash had arrived in the town, and all he saw was that all humans can use magic. Then he discovered the cream puff store. When he was paying, he accidentally crushed the coins and the pastry chef was afraid of his strength. Following this, Mash repaired the coins back to normal, and the pastry chef was overcome with fear. Suddenly a strong wind blew and people saw that Mash didn't have a mark on his face. Everyone was scared of Mash and stared at him. Then we see the magic policeman Brad, who was looking at a newspaper article. Meanwhile, he was torturing a criminal who stole something. The officer wanted to punish him, but suddenly he got a call about a boy without a mark. Then we see Mash. He had a guilty conscience because he broke his promise to his father. On his way home, he bumped into the magic policeman Terry, who was drunk. The drunk magic policeman was angry at Mash for getting his uniform dirty. Mash then offered him a bitten cream puff as compensation. The cop got angry and slapped his cream puff out of his hand. Then Mash tore up the cop's uniform because he wanted to clean it, and he didn't realize he was causing a big problem. Suddenly, Terry supervisor Brad showed up. He was looking for a boy without mark in the face. Mash didn't even notice that he was causing problems and ate his cream puffs calmly like nothing is happening. When the policeman wanted to arrest him, Mash's father showed up. He apologized and ran away with him. Brad just laughed at them, and he prepared to cast a spell. As a result, he created a magic bird that was following Mash and his father to their home. Mash made it home unharmed, and his father scolded him for breaking their promise. Mash said sorry, and he was totally depressed after that. Mash's father told him he should do his morning routine again as his punishment. Then he gave his dad the cream puffs, and his dad opened the door for him so he wouldn't destroy them again. Mash was on his way to work out again, and his father was worried because he knew he couldn't hide Mash in the forest forever. Suddenly Brad showed up. He wanted to find Mash and asked Retro where his son is. Mash was working out, and he completed his morning routine in just 5 minutes. Even the animals in the forest were scared by Mash's enormous power. Then Mash decided to go back home to eat more cream puffs. Suddenly he heard policeman Brad's voice. He said that the magic police are responsible for eliminating people without magic. He also said Regro will be punished. Mash's father refused to cooperate and was thrown against a wall. Brad threatened him and attacked him with dangerous magic. Regro didn't say a word about his son. Then we see Regro past. He was a magician without talent in his past. He was mistreated by everyone and rejected by his family because of his weak power. Since no one needed him, Regro decided to commit suicide. As he was about to take his own life, he heard a baby cry. In that moment, he discovered the abandoned Mash and decided to raise him as his father. Regro vowed to always protect Mash, even if they are not related by blood. Then Regro yelled for Mash to run away, hoping he could hear his words somewhere to save himself. Brad got angry, and he was ready to kill Mash's father. Then Mash jumped through the door, and he knocked out the magic police officers. The cop Terry underestimated Mash. Following that, Mash beat him up with ease. His father wanted to know why he didn't escape, and Mash replied that they are a family. Brad just laughed at him, and the magic cops looked down on Mash for not being able to use magic. Brad then wanted to cast a spell that he even used to defeat a dragon. So Mash was attacked by a strong spell, and it resulted in an explosion. Brad couldn't believe that Mash deflected his magic with only using his hands. Brad panicked and became scared of Mash, who simply blocked his attack with ease. However, Brad wanted to use his strongest attack, so Brad fires a powerful spell at Mash. And he blocked his attacks without any problem. Then, as the magician continued to fire, Mash deflected the magic like it was a volleyball. Brad kept trying to defeat Mash, but he just played with Brad. Then Mash picked up a magic wand. Mash couldn't do any magic, and he threw the magic wand at Brad like a baseball. Brad couldn't believe about his enormous power, and Mash threatened to kill him the next time. Brad suddenly started laughing and offered him a deal. So Brad said that once a year the best student is chosen by God. Mash had managed to become the gods chosen at a magic school. As a result, society would also accept him, and in return Brad demands the fortune and prestige that he would get with it. So Mash accepted Brad's offer and they made a deal. His father was concerned for his son but believed that Mash had grown into a good boy. Now Mash was determined to become the best student at the Magic Academy in order to achieve his goal of living peacefully with his father. In the days that followed, the Eastern School of Magic entrance exam started for Mash. Before the first exam began, Teacher Lucci watched the candidates studying. Suddenly he sees Mash, who was training with high weights. Lucci couldn't believe seeing a muscle freak in their prestigious school. Mash only looked at books on muscle building, and his father was concerned that Mash would not pass the entrance exam. Then the teacher Lucci greeted all the students. Lucci was very famous and admired by all the students. Suddenly, Lucci conjured up the first exam that amazed everyone. Mash commented that he could also prepare for the exam beforehand without magic. Lucci got mad at Mash, but he was adamant that Mash would fail the exam. The first written exam has been put under a spell, with candidates having to use magic to put the letters in the right order. Mash wanted to pass the exam. As a result, he threatened the letters to put themselves in the right order, so Mash was able to immediately pass the first test without magic. After that, Mash, with his strong muscles, insisted on further testing. Mash had so much physical strength that the other students thought he could use magic. Mash passed all previous tests with ease. For the next test, the students had to find their way out of a dangerous maze full of traps and monsters. In the maze, Mash was immediately approached by a girl named Lemon. She wanted to find a way out with him. She was very clumsy and she activated on their way all the traps. Mash was depressed because they were so slow. When Mash tried to find his way out, Lemon tried to stop him. The girl handcuffed him with a spell. Mash just freed himself with his strength, and he ran away to find the way out. Suddenly, a strong monster appeared behind Lemon. The monster attacked Lemon and knocked her wand out of her hand. Lemon froze in fear, and the monster wanted to kill her. She accepted her death because she felt guilty about wanting to sabotage Mash. At the last moment Mash appeared. He punched the monster and defeated it with just one punch. Mash has risen. Lemon immediately fell in love with him. Mash then smashed the walls with his muscular strength. Everyone was scared and they couldn't believe that Mash just made it to the finish with his muscle power. The school principal took an interest in Mash. All the students were angry with Mash, and the sensitive Mash became sad. Lemon then told the truth that Teacher Lucci promised her to let her pass the exam by sabotaging Mash on the exam. She also said that Mash saved her and he proposed to her. Mash didn't know of any proposals, but he had too much of this, so now he had a wife. And the teacher was angry with Mash. Lucci wanted to kill Mash with a strong spell, but Mash broke his wand. Suddenly the school director, Wahlberg, appeared. He later wanted to punish Lucci for his behavior and said that he's starting the final exam now. The last test was an interview and Mash was teleported to another dimension. The principal then wanted to know his reason for choosing the Eastern Magic School. Mash said he wanted to live a peaceful life with his father, and that's why he chose the Eastern Magic School. After that, he asked why Mash saved the girl. Mash replied that his feeling told him to save her. The principal liked Mash. Finally, the headmaster summoned a giant monster and asked how Mash would have acted if this were his opponent. However, Gross Soul was taken hostage in the doll. The principal wanted to see how Mash would react in a desperate situation. Suddenly, Mash tried to stop the monster with his bare hands, and everyone was shocked by Mash. The school principal knew Mash was strong, and he wanted to see him answer that as a strong person he would help the weak. Mash proves his kindness to him. Mash passed the exam and was accepted into Eastern Magic School. The following day, Mash was in class. Mash tried to open a lock with magic. He used his muscle power. However, the teacher was angry at Mash, and Mash said that he isn't good with magic in the least. Another student was shocked by Mash bad boy's attitude. He thought Mash was a troublemaker. When Finn was looking for his room, he didn't want to share a room with Mash. Suddenly, he found his room and couldn't see a door. Mash already broke it, and they introduced themselves. Finn remarked that Mash is a nice guy but a muscle freak. The two became friends, and Mash offered to share his cream puffs with Finn. So the two ate delicious cream puffs. In the days that followed, we see Mash eating cream puffs, and suddenly he realizes that he needs a broom for tomorrow's class. Mash wanted to borrow a broom from Finn because he accidentally bought a cream puff instead of a broom. The next day, the students tried to learn how to fly with their broom. All of them used their magic and were able to make the broom levitate. Mash then gave it a go, but he was unable to make the broom levitate because he lacked magic power. Suddenly another student appeared. He was looking down on Mash. So Mash used his muscle power and his broom hopped into his hand. The other students said Mash cheated and he was angry. After that, the time trial started and Mash was asked to a race. The loser had to become the winner errand boy. Mash accepted the challenge and they competed against each other. The teacher wondered if Mash could ride a broom at all. Then the race started and Mash won immediately. Nobody knew what happened because Mash was much too fast. Finn was the only one who saw Mash's incredible speed. He threw his broom and he was available to ride it. So Mash won the bet and the other student was angry. Suddenly someone closed his mouth with magic, and another student appeared. He introduced himself as Lloyd Cavil, and Mash thought his name was called Spot Cabbage. Afterwards, Cavil was stopped by the teacher, and he told Mash that he wanted to meet up with him later. He then bullied the other student for failing to win against Mash. Cavil was very violent, and he enjoyed beating up other students. Meanwhile, Mash learned from his friend Finn that Cavil is a big bully in their school. He also learned that everyone is afraid of him because Cavil is the son of a high-ranking member of the Bureau of Magic. The many words was way too complicated for Mash. So Finn summarized it and said that he is friend with the vice principal. As a result, everyone is afraid of Cavil. Later, Mash made cream puffs and he would have liked to share the delicious cream puffs with his father. So he remembered Brad's words, and he really wanted to become a divine visioner. Meanwhile, Cavil waited for Mash, who had forgotten their meeting. The next day, Mash realized his book was broken and Cavil showed up. Mash apologized for forgetting their agreement. Afterwards, Cavil said he can help him become a divine visioner. So Mash should do whatever he says, and he would use his connection to help him. Mash accepted his offer and he had to become his henchman. Then Mash did everything Cavil told him, and Finn felt guilty. In the days that followed, Mash book broke again, and he wanted to use Finn book. Afterwards, Mash shared his cream puffs with Finn, and Mash said he was lucky to have found such a nice friend as Finn. After class, Mash was bullied by Cavil, and he looked down on him. Mash didn't mind being bullied by Cavil, so he cleaned the floor and he realized he had Finn book. Then we see Finn. He was bullied by Cavil, and he was responsible for destroying Mash books. Finn didn't want to do bad things to his friend Mash, so he refused to obey Cavil mean orders, and he was beaten up by him with magic. Then Mash was searching for his friend Finn, and he found his friend injured. Mash was worried about Finn, and his friend apologized for destroying his school books. Finn was crying, and he regretted doing the mean things because Mash thought he was a good friend. Mash was angry that Cavil was bullying his friend Finn. Suddenly, Mash ran towards Cavil, and he smashed his head into the ground. Mash ordered him to apologize to Finn, and Finn was worried that Mash would be expelled from school. After Mash knocked out Cavil, he realized he could be expelled from school. The vice principal, Foreman, then showed up. He is a friend of Lloyd's father and has accused Mash of committing an act of violence. As a result, Mash and Finn were threatened that they would be expelled from school. Also, he looked down on them both because they are ordinary students. Suddenly, Mash attacked the vice principal. Foreman tried to fight back, but Mash didn't give him a chance to attack. He then dug a hole through the concrete floor, and Mash planned to bury him. Mash threw him into the hole, and he started filling the hole to bury him. Then Mash said he would bury him so he wouldn't get kicked out of the school. He also threatened Foreman, who was screaming in fear. After that, Mash was called by the school principal, Wahlberg. Mash thought he was summoned for using the dorm kitchen because he didn't have permission to bake his cream puffs. Wahlberg answered, he was called to the office because he hit Cavil and buried Vice Principal Foreman. Mash learned that the Bureau of Magic wanted to expel him from school. The reason was that they are the strongest power in their country, and Mash has done something forbidden. Suddenly, Wahlberg said he's on Mash's side because Mash is a good person who only wanted to protect his friend. The principal doesn't like the current Bureau of Magic. He hopes that a good man like Mash will become a divine visioner who will change their world. He then told Mash the conditions for becoming a divine visioner. Mash found out he had to collect coins, but accidentally fell asleep because he is a little bit stupid. Afterwards, Wahlberg said he wouldn't be expelled from school, and Mash went to his room. Meanwhile, Cavill and the vice principal were traumatized by Mash. In the days that followed, we saw Mash and Finn talking about cream puffs. Suddenly, an older student named Tom Knowles appeared. All the girls had a crush on Tom, and they made fun of Mash's mushroom hairstyle. Mash was invited by Tom to a sport called duello. Mash then tried to explain to him that he couldn't ride a broomstick, but Tom didn't let him go and forced Mash to join their team. After that, they had a match, and Mash still couldn't fly on the broom. The game started and Mash just watched them fly in the sky. He wanted to go home and the viewers threw garbage at Mash because he didn't start to fly. Then the two teams played against each other, and Mash friends got worried. Suddenly Mash was yelled at by Tom. Mash think that Tom is crazy, and he told Mash that he must be strong like a strong bamboo. Tom wanted him to activate his bamboo power. So Tom tried to explain the rules of the sport duello to him. The magicians have to throw a ball into the opponent's ring. There is no magic in the sport, and Tom realized his team was losing. However, Tom wanted to return, and he believed in Mash. Suddenly, Tom was badly injured by the opposing team. Everyone was shocked, and the opponent lied and said it wasn't on purpose. Tom couldn't play anymore, and he was angry that the opponents played unfairly. Tom was sad that they would now lose the match, and the opponents looked down on Tom. As a result, Mash got angry, and he started using his cream puff's power. Mash then jumped into the air, and he was able to fly. Mash used his feet, and everyone was shocked that he could fly like that. Then Mash wanted to win the match, and the opponents underestimated him. They tried to stop him together as a team, but Mash just threw the ball into the goal. Mash scored, but the opposing team held a lead of more than 49 points. Suddenly the ball returned to Mash, and he had a strong technique, so he threw it again with an inhuman spin. Mash then threw more goals, and he repeated it throughout. Mash managed to score many points, and they set a record, so his team won by 999 points, and the Adler Dormitory won the game through Mash's incredible cream puff power. Also, after his win, Mash received the silver coin for his new record. Then Tom came to see him, and he was very proud of his bamboo brother. Tom hugged him and thanked Mash for the win. After that, we see Mash in a newspaper report. He was now famous, and another student harbored a grudge against Mash. He thought Mash was a softie and didn't accept him. The next day, Mash was harassed by Tom and Lemon. Mash just wanted to go to school normally, but Tom and Lemon were both crazy. They wanted Mash to join their group. Meanwhile, Finn refused to help him and pretended he was sleeping. Suddenly, Lance Ground showed up. He was very well known because he had 2 marks on his face. In addition, he ranked first in the entrance exams. Lance then said that Mash will now have a lot of fun with him. So Mash thought Lance wanted to play hide and seek with him. Then Lance showed a bottle, and he was able to imprison Mash's friends in the magic item. Lance said they'll meet in the woods if Mash wants to save his friends. They later met again in the woods, and Lance challenged him for his silver coin. Tom was surprised because only older students have 2 silver coins, and he was aware of how dangerous Lance is. Then we learned that most people are single-line magic users. Sometimes children are born with multiple marks. They are very special. They also have immense magical power and are very dangerous. Lance then made the rule that they fight against each other to the point of incapacitation. Then Lance said he couldn't lose against someone like Mash, who is a good guy who helps weak people. His friends warned him and said that Mash shouldn't fight because Lance is very dangerous. Mash immediately wanted to fight, and Lance changed their environment with a spell. Meanwhile, Regro and Brad were worried about Mash, and they hoped that he didn't cause problems. Suddenly, the ground shook, and Lance was ready to start their fight. Mash attacked him, and he was smashed into the ground with gravity magic. Lance said that a person who only thinks about others can never become the number one. So Mash tried to get up, and he proved the arrogant Lance that he didn't have to get up to attack him. Then he pulled a root out of the ground, and he was able to break Lance's spell. After that, Mash went into a boxing mode, and Lance couldn't stop him. Suddenly, Lance's necklace fell to the floor. That's how Mash discovered a picture of a little girl. He couldn't believe Lance was a lolicon, and he wanted to call the police to arrest him. As a result, Lance said that he didn't have a lolicon complex, but a sister complex instead. Then Mash returned his necklace to him, Mash was asked what the most important thing in the world. Mash replied that cream puffs is the most important thing in the world. And his answer was wrong. Suddenly, Lance got angry, and he said that the most precious thing in the world is his little sister. After that, Lance ran to a cliff, wanting to take advantage of Mash's good nature. He did all the bad deeds for his little sister. Then we see Lance and his little sister, Anna. She was angry that he got into a fight. He replied that he just fell, but Anna knew the truth. The reason Lance got into a fight was because he helped strangers who were being bullied. Lance loved his good-natured little sister, but one day, Anna got sick. She was slowly losing her magical powers. Also, in 5 years, the Bureau of Magic would have executed her because for losing her magic power. The parents accepted Anna's fate, and Lance was furious. He decided to become a divine visioner to save his little sister. Lance then dropped the magic item, and he reinforced the fall with gravity magic. Mash got ready, and he said hamstring magic activated. Lance thought Mash could use magic, and Mash went into a deep lunge. Suddenly, he started sprinting, and he managed to get the bottle. Besides, he was right back up the hill at a crazy speed. Lance was startled by Mash's superhuman strength and tried to come up with a plan to win. Mash then said that Lance is actually a good person too. Mash was aware that Lance was just throwing a fake bottle, and he didn't put his friends in danger. Mash wanted to end the fight, and Lance asked why he wanted to end the fight. When he won, Mash's response reminded him of his little sister's words. That's how they ended the fight, and Lance was aware that he had lost. Mash received the silver coin from Lance, and his friends escaped from the bottle. Then Mash was immediately harassed by his friends again, and Mash was annoyed by his friends harassing him. In the following days, we see Mash in the Adler door. He was a math genius, and he was trying to figure out how many silver medals he needed to create a gold one. Mash figured out that 5 minus 2 equals 28. Finn couldn't believe how stupid Mash is, and he realized that they forgot to do their homework. Finn was panicking as they had to make potions for class. Mash tried to cheer Finn up with a cream puff, but he didn't want the snack. Suddenly, Lance appeared. He had already done his homework. Finn was impressed by Lance because he was a top student last year, and he is a model student. Then Mash wanted to tease him a bit. He showed Lance the photo of his little sister. Lance was immediately overwhelmed, and he was smashed into the wall. Mash knew about Lance's weak point, so Lance passed out from the photo of his little sister. Lance then decided to help them to produce some potions. Then Lance said that they needed a mandragora for their potion assignment. The mandragora was screaming the entire time, so Lance showed them a spell to silence the mandragora. Following this, Finn tried the new spell, and he was unsuccessful in his attempt to silence the mandragora. After that, Mash tried to use magic. He only angered the mandragora even more. Finn was distracted, and Lance gave him helpful advice. So Finn managed to make sure that the mandragora was sleeping. Then I thanked him, and his comment was that Lance is a nice guy. Meanwhile, Mash transformed the vegetable into a giant monster. Following this, Mash decided to solve his problem. He slapped the mandragora in the face, so the mandragora was knocked out by Mash's slap. As a result, the mandragora turned into normal vegetables. Afterwards, Lance showed the preparation of the vegetables, and he started to process the vegetables into a high-quality potion. Then Mash imitated all movements and the cooking skills of Lance. As a result, Mash prepared a cream puff with a monster. Lance thought Mash was joking, so he tried to teach Mash how to create some potions. Lance's cooking class was a failure, as Mash only managed to cook cream puffs. Lance couldn't believe Mash was talentless and just a good fighter. Lance suddenly said that he would never lose to Mash again. He also said that Mash is his rival, and he won't lose next time. Then we see Principal Wahlberg wondering about the outdoor classes between the dorms. Meanwhile, students were walking down the school corridor, and they were bumped into by a red-haired guy. He claimed that he was the main character, so he slapped the 3 arrogant students. Then we see the students of the Langdor. The leader gave a speech. He ordered his underlings to rob all the coins from the other dorms. Then we see Mash again. He didn't manage to make a potion and ate his cream puffs with Lance. The next day, outdoor classes at the Eastern Academy began. Then Dot showed up. He also belonged to the Adler door. Dot made fun of Mash. He said that he is the main character of the school. Lemon then appeared. She ran to Mash. Dot was immediately jealous of Mash because Lemon was in love with him. Suddenly, Dot spit on Mash's face because Dot was jealous. The reason was that Dot didn't get Lemon, and the girls avoided him. Mash and his friends ignored Dot, and he got even more angry. Then a teacher showed up. He said that the Langer and Adler dormitories have to fight monsters today. Today, they can collect a lot of coins. and the value of the coins is determined by the strength of the monsters. Then the monster hunt started in the forest, and a student from the Langer dormitory showed up. Silver didn't like Mash because Mash is very famous in their school. Suddenly Mash was attacked, and the teacher stopped the two. Their angry Silver said they were just playing, and Mash was angry. He wanted to punch the other student, but Lance stopped his friend. Mash learned that Silver is a year older than them. Also, he is very dangerous. Lance said he belonged to the Langdor. Suddenly, Lance realized that Mash was only angry because Mash fought his cream. Puff got squished. Now Lance and Mash were going into the forest, but Mash got lost in just a short time. Then Dot bumped into Mash, and Mash slapped him for talking nonsense. Dot wanted to start a fight with Mash, but he heard a girl's voice. Then a girl screamed for help, and Dot cast a fire spell against a guy. He saved that girl from another magician. She thanked Dot, and he fell in love with the rescued girl. As the girl then seduced Dot, she had Dot fell in love with her instantly. Meanwhile, Silver defeated two strong monsters, and he got his first silver coin. After that, Dot got very nervous, and he couldn't believe the girl was interested. Suddenly, the silver-haired girl realized that Dot is very gross. She lies to him, and she continues to compliment him. Also, Lauren could use a spell to seduce guys. She then tried to seduce Mash, but she failed to seduce Mash. The reason is that Mash doesn't care about anything, so Mash had a strong resistance against Lauren's spells. Lauren Cabas tried to seduce him again. She failed to seduce Mash, and she couldn't believe her spell didn't work against him. The girl accepted her failure, and she tried to take advantage of Dot. Then she said that a guy named Silver was threatening her. The girl said that he is a stalker, and she is desperate because he always seeks her out. Then Dot replied that he would protect the girl. Silver suddenly appeared, and he attacked them immediately. Dot countered with his fire spells. He used his machine gun's X-bomb spell and shot a dangerous fireball at Silver. So, Dot caused dangerous explosions, and Silver was hit by all the fireballs. Mash just watched the fight while he ate cream puffs. Meanwhile, Finn and Lemon were happy to meet Lance in the dangerous forest. Lance was concerned Mash was getting into trouble again. Then we see the fight between Dot and Silver again. Silver protected himself against the attacks of the explosion spells with his iron magic. Suddenly, Silver showed him his magic spells, and he was able to hurt Dot. Meanwhile, Mash was shocked that his cream puff fell out of his hand. Dot didn't know what he should do now. He thought Mash was weak and didn't want to involve him in his problems. Suddenly, Silver offered them an absurd deal. Dot accepted the absurd deal, and Silver said the mushroom head Mash would be next. Dot wanted to protect the weak Mash, and he said that Silver was allowed to attack him 10 times. Silver agreed to the deal of Dot, so Silver used his Iron Fist spell, and Dot was seriously injured. However, Dot was hit by countless strong attacks, but he didn't give up. Dot stood to the end, and he was ready to keep taking the last attacks. He knew he was stupid for risking his life for a girl, but he is satisfied that in return he can protect them all. After that, Silver prepared a powerful attack, and he concentrated more magic into his attack. Dot was defeated by Silver, and he still managed to get up after 10 attacks. He then went to Silver, and he had no more strength to say anything. Dot fell to the ground, and Silver looked down on him. Then Dot told Mash to escape with Lauren Cabas. Suddenly, Lauren Cabas confessed that she and Silver are friends. The girl insulted Dot and said he was pathetic. Then Silver wanted to use Dot as his toy, but Mash stuffed his mouth with a cream puff. Mash was angry and offered to play the same game with Silver. Meanwhile, Lance was worried about his friend Mash. He explained to Lemon that there are different magicians. Silver is one of the red mages, and they are very dangerous because they can cast powerful attack spells. Silver continued to look down on Dot for acting like a hero. Silver then wanted to finish him off, but Mash tried to punch Silver with one of his attacks. His attack was blocked, and he said Mash would lose against him. The arrogant Silver looked down on Mash, and he attacked Mash. However, Mash was hit several times by his Iron Fist spell. Mash could withstand them all with ease, and he set himself up for his attack. Then Mash said Triceps magic activated. Mash ran towards Silver, and he was unstoppable. The spell of Silver didn't work on Mash, and Silver was punched by Mash. Suddenly, Silver was bleeding, and he couldn't accept that he had lost to Mash. Silver tried to attack Mash with all his power, but Mash showed him the true power of his muscle. He slammed his infinite steroids power into the ground, so he was able to severely injure Silver. Silver was afraid by Mash, and Mash S80 down. He waited for Silver's next attack. Mash said they could keep playing, but Silver knew that by continuing he will die as a result. Silver noticed that Mash is a monster, and he wanted to try to escape from Mash. Suddenly, a huge monster appeared, and Silver was happy, thinking that he would manage to escape. Then the monster tried to attack Mash, but he defeated him with just one attack. Silver couldn't believe it, and he thought he would die. Suddenly, Mash said he felt sorry for him, so Mash decided to stop their fight. Then Mash turned around, and Lauren Cabas started to cry. She tried to trick Mash, and Mash went and hugged Lauren Cabas. After that, the girl thought that she had managed to seduce Mash, but Mash is actually Triple H, so the girl was punished by his wrestling skills too. Following this, all enemies were defeated, and Dot thought Mash was crazy. He found his friends, and they learned about his exploits. Then Dot was sad and Mash sent Lemon to cheer him up. However, Dot immediately fell in love, and Lemon was scared. Then Dot thanked Mash, and he unwittingly insulted Dot. Afterwards, Lance explained to him that the Langadorm is made up of the strongest nobles. They are the strongest and at the same time, the most dangerous dorm in their school. They also want to prevent ordinary students from getting into the Bureau of Magic. Lance then said that soon the battles for the coins will begin, and the group named Magia Lupus will launch their attack. Suddenly Mash's coins were shining, and Mash teased Dot with his coin. After that, Mash asked when they were assigned to the dormitories. Mash then recalled his first day at school. The teacher showed a skeleton that was able to read people's minds. The skeleton was responsible for assigning the students to the appropriate dormitories. Then we see Mash, the skeleton, trying to read his mind. Mash only thought of cream puffs, and the skeleton was shocked. He realizes that Mash is very stupid, and all he could think of was eating cream puffs. However, Mash's stupidity was transferred to the skeleton. As a result, Mash was assigned to the Adler dorm. Lance then said that Mash should try to avoid encounters with the Langadorm students. The next day, Mash got lost again, and he discovered a door. Then we see Silver. He asked for forgiveness, but the leader didn't forgive his failure. The leader then said that weaklings would not be tolerated in their dorm. So Silver was punished by the leader, and he turned Silver into a wooden doll. The leader aspired to the title of Divine Visionary. Suddenly, Mash appeared, and he was destroying unintentionally the door to their room. Then Mash was asked why he wanted to become a Divine Visionary. He replied that he wants to become a Divine Visionary to live peacefully with his family. The leader, Abel, didn't accept Mash's answer. He said that becoming a Divine Visionary is to attain the highest form of all power. He then explained to Mash that a Divine Visionary has wealth and power that can rule the lives of the weak. Mash didn't understand anything, and he thought that basically Abel just wanted a peaceful life too. A girl was shocked at how stupid Mash is because he didn't angry, and he attacked Mash with a puppet. Mash was tackled, and he easily deflected the kick. Suddenly, the doll turned back into Silver. Then another doll attacked Mash, and Mash was surprised by their strength. Mash was thrown against a wall, and Abel looked down at him. Mash got angry, and he nearly crushed Silver. Then Mash said that he would take Silver to the infirmary first. Also, he said he wouldn't give the coin to him and would defeat him with ease. The others were shocked, and Abel was also surprised by Mash's confidence. Suddenly, he noticed that his doll was missing a button. Abel looked at his hand and realized that Mash had exchanged the gold coin. A girl couldn't believe what she had seen. The reason is that Mash just bit off a button when the doll gave the coin to Abel, and Silver found out that Mash saved him, and he didn't understand because he was his enemy. Silver was still confused, and Mash tried to answer, but he bit his tongue. Then Mash said goodbye and left the room. Meanwhile, Lance and Dot were arguing in Mash and Finn's room. Finn was furious and wanted to know the reason why they both visited. They ignored him, and Dot was jealous of Lance's good looks. He told Lance to get out of the room. Suddenly, Lance wanted to respond to Dot's fight kid and smash the door. He didn't allow them to destroy his room, even though he broke the door himself. After that, Dot gave them a present. He just wanted to visit Mash. Finn learned that Dot likes herbal tea. Then Mash ate a cream puff, and Lance said they should try to collect more coins. Lemon said that since the school year started, the Lang members had been trying to rob all the coins from the student. She said that they are the only ones who can stop them, because the Orc dormitory is only dedicated to basic research. She then entrusted the burden to Mash, and Dot was furious. Everyone was motivated to win against the Langdor. Then Mash had to clean the owl huts. The principal gave him a penalty for injuring a student and teacher days before. Mash had to clean the owl hut for 1 week, and Lance wanted to help him clean the owl huts. Meanwhile, 2 students from the Magia Lupus were looking for Mash to get his gold coin. Then we see Mash cleaning the owl huts, and the owls didn't like Mash. Suddenly, Mash was attacked with a water spell. Lance was then attacked with a huge shuriken. Mash was drowning, and the enemy said they would collect the coins. Olor and Answer were numbers 6 and 7 of the Magiolupus. They wanted to start a fight, but Mash said he couldn't swim. Suddenly, Olor turned into a shark, and he dove into the earth. Answer wanted to fight against Lance. Suddenly, Lance realizes that he's attacked, and he wanted to defeat his enemy with gravitational magic. Unfortunately, he would hurt the little owls too. As he was about to attack, his conscience, in the form of his little sister, stopped him. Afterwards, Answer realized that Lance is from the Crown family, who can use powerful gravity magic. He was disappointed that Lance was extremely weak. Then Answer kept looking down at his opponent and making fun of Lance. Lance got angry, and he planned his next attack. Answer then decided to attack Lance first with 3 shurikens. Suddenly, Answer realizes that the owls had gathered in one place. Lance then attacked and said he could now fight seriously to defeat him. Then Answer was shocked, realizing that Lance had held back to protect the owls. He got angry and tried to defeat Lance with his strongest attack, but Lance showed him his true power, and he deflected the attack and stomped his enemy to the ground. Lance was far too powerful, and his enemy was shocked. Lance then said that he is fighting for his little sister, and he will never lose to a guy who looks down on others. Meanwhile, the shark, Olor, was confident he could defeat Mash with ease. Suddenly, something swam towards him with crazy speed. Olor was scared. He was sure of victory because Mash said he couldn't swim. Suddenly, Mash stopped and thanked Olor for teaching him to swim. As a result, the hunter became the haunted, and Mash circled him with her shark form and started beating him up badly. Mash defeated him with ease and returned to the surface. After that, Lance took the gold coin, and Mash found the numbers 6 and 7 of the Magi's Lupis to be weak. Suddenly, another person appeared who was faster than Flash. He had a demon eye, and Lance's spell was useless against him. Then Mash got ready and sprinted to grab him. The enemy was able to dodge Mash's speedster attack, and he rallied his comrades. After that, he said he didn't want to fight for the time being, and he said goodbye. Then we see the masked guy, and his mask broke while fighting Mash. In the evening, we see the masked guy again, and he goes and attacks a strong magician from the Orc dormitory to collect his coin. His enemy fought back, but he didn't stand a chance against the masked guy. The next morning, Lance said that the Magi's Lupis are the top fighters in the Langdorm, but Mash wasn't listening and was concentrating on baking his cream puffs. After that, Mash tried to put on a cape, but he had trouble with it. Then Lance explained to him that the cape had their dorm badges on them. Lemon suddenly had a problem, but Mash still had cream puffs in his oven that were going to burn. Then we see Mash and his friends in the hospital room. Tom said he doesn't know how he got hurt. He remembered dreaming of being locked in a dark room. He couldn't escape and collapsed from exhaustion. Lemon then asked what Tom's physical condition was at the moment. He replied that he can't use magic for the time being because his magic power has been absorbed. Lance was shocked to learn that several other students also had the same symptoms. Suddenly, Lemon gave Mash a lucky charm that looked like a cream puff. He said that it looked weird and was punched in the face by Lemon. Then she said that she was worried about him and told him to always take the stuffed animal to his bed. During the night, Lance wanted to investigate the incidents, but Matt said they needed to go to sleep. Meanwhile, Finn and Dot followed them. Later, they found Lemon, and Dot immediately wanted to see her. Lance stopped him because Lemon was moving strangely. Suddenly, she acted like a doll, and she looked at the boys without eyes. Everyone was shocked except Dot, who thought she was cute even without eyes. They then followed Lemon, but they lost her track. Suddenly, Finn heard a strange noise, and he was scared. Dot thought it was a ghost, and they wanted Mash to protect them. Then Lance used a spell, and he was able to find a secret door. The door was locked, and it couldn't even be opened with powerful attacks. Suddenly, Mash grabbed a knight statue. He used the sword and his Superman powers to open the door with ease. Dot and Finn were shocked at his crazy power. Lance then said that they must fight against Magi's Lupis. Mash remembered Lemon words and was determined to go and rescue her. They were then in the basement of the school, and they continued to look for traces of Lemon. Suddenly, they found a light, and they discovered an arena. Mash didn't know what an arena was, and an enemy appeared. They learned that he was sent by the Magiolupus to defeat them. Lance was ready to fight, but Dot wanted to fight first because he hates good-looking guys. Dot then asked if the guy had a fan club. His opponent answered the question, and Dot's friends knew that Dot would get angry. Immediately after that, Dot's opponent launched his attack and used plant magic to grow tendrils from his wand. Next, we see Principal Wahlberg in the Bureau of Magic. Wahlberg learned that 6 of the most dangerous criminals escaped from Azkaban prison, and they are supported by Innocent Zero. Then we see Dot attack, but his attack had no effect, and his opponent injured him. He also made fun of Dot losing to Silver. The enemy said that Silver is a disgrace and that he is stronger than Silver. Dot was not intimidated and continued to attack his enemy with fire magic. So his enemy was surrounded by a spell. Dot told him that he couldn't move, or they would explode. His enemy said he's not stupid and won't step on it. Dot was confident in his trap, and he thought his victory was certain. Suddenly, his enemy attacked with plant spells, and he was able to overwhelm Dot. As a result, Dot lost his wand, and he was severely injured with thorns from the plant. Then he wanted to end the fight by smashing him on the ground. Suddenly, Dot activated his spell, and he said that his X-bomb would activate. After a certain amount of time, his enemy fell into Dot's trap, and he attacked him with powerful blast magic. Dot won, and he was happy with his victory. Then they saw the enemy striking a great pose despite his defeat. Suddenly, Mash and his friends sank into the ground. Mash tries to save his cream puff, and Dot realizes that all his friends are crazier than himself. So they all sank down into the ground, and they were separated. After that, Lance was visited by another enemy. Lance immediately recognized that he was Worth, who belonged to the Magi's Lupus. Worth was the number 3 fighter in the Langador. Meanwhile, the twins were expecting Finn and Dot. Love Cute was number 5, and she was happy to destroy their weak opponents. Also, number 4 of the Magi's Lupus, Milo, introduced himself. Finn was in despair because they had to fight 2 double lines of mages. As a result, Dot tried to cheer Finn up and said they must try to win. Dot was confident of winning. Meanwhile, Mash also arrived in another room. He wondered where his friends were. Then the masked guy showed up and he introduced himself as number 2 of the Magi's Lupus. Mash greeted Abyss politely. Abyss then praised Mash for being a speedster, which surprised him greatly. Mash thanked him for the compliments. Suddenly Mash panicked, realizing Abyss knew his secret for not having magic in his body. Then Abyss said that Mash didn't need to worry because he have also a secret like him. Mash was threatened with a sword, and Mash said he would destroy him with all his might. Then Lance was insulted, and he immediately attacked Worth with his gravity spell. Worth disappeared and managed to dodge the attack with his mud magic. Suddenly, Worth appeared behind Lance with a bunch of mud clones. Lance immediately attacked them, so his clones were defeated. Unfortunately, Worth took no damage, and he counterattacked Lance. Lance analyzed his technique, but he couldn't defeat Worth. Following this, Lance had his feet taped to the floor by Worth. Then Lance was shot at with a hardened bullet of mud. Also, Worth was impressed by Lance's powerful magic. He then offered Lance to join the Magialupus to be his errand boy. Worth said that his friends are weaklings, and they are all scum. Worth was convinced that first-class magicians shouldn't live with the scum, so Lance replied that he declined his offer. Also, Lance said that Worth is second-rate himself. Lance then slammed his opponent against the wall with gravity magic. Worth was convinced that he couldn't lose against Lance with his mud magic. Additionally, he looked down on Lance and thought that he was the stronger one. Suddenly, he was attacked by rocks. Lance was able to hurt Worth, and he understood that Lance isn't an ordinary magician. After that, Worth got angry. He was firmly convinced that he was one of the strongest in the world. He believed that because his environment is strong, he is also one of the Magialupus. Suddenly, Worth drank concentrated magical essence to power him up. Worth's attack power increased with the purple drink. Lance could feel his power surge, and his enemy prepared an attack. Then he cast a powerful spell, and he summoned a huge mud devil. Worth explained that double-liners possess the highest ability to use magic. Suddenly, he recalled his childhood, and his father said that weaklings are not accepted in the world. Worth began attacking Lance with his Maduro devil, but Lance dodged. Then Lance said his friends are not weaklings. He said that a good-hearted person could defeat everyone. So Lance used his unique spell, and he created magic pillars. His torture pole spell could immobilize Worth's monster. Then Worth's Maduro devil was destroyed by Lance's spell.
そして柱に囲まれたその化け物は四方から重力に引っ張られ
Worth couldn't believe that his mud devil was pulverized by Lance's spell. He was shocked and recalled the memories of his father. His father wouldn't accept him unless he was one of the strongest magicians. Worth was sad and only wanted to become strong in order to be recognized by his father. Afterwards, Lance said that family status isn't the most important thing in the world. He explained to Worth that there are more important things in life than power and fame. Lance remembered the good times with his little sister. He didn't like people who didn't have a good heart. Then we see Mash launch an attack against Abyss. Abyss was able to withstand Mash's kick, and he attacked Mash with his speed. Mash was injured by the sword, and he used a spell that could increase his speed. After that, Abyss said that Mash could still quit, but he declined the offer. Abyss didn't like Mash's life goals. Then Mash was shown that Lemon's magic power is absorbed by a magic item. He said Lemon could never use magic again in 30 minutes. Mash was angry, and he wanted to destroy the mask of Abyss. Then Abyss attacked Mash with his Uno reverse spell. Mash was permanently injured, and he couldn't block the fast attacks of Abyss. The Sword of Abyss inflicted bad injuries on him. Suddenly, the Sword of Abyss got stuck in Mash's abs. Mash revealed that he planned everything and headbutted his enemy. As a result, Mash destroyed his mask, and he was able to see his demon eye. Mash thought he got shampoo in his eye while showering. Abyss then explained that he possesses an evil eye. His Eye of the Devil can negate other magic, and is despised by many people. Suddenly, Mash apologized because the evil eye doesn't work on him. Also, Mash learned that even his parents avoided him for that reason. He didn't like Mash. However, Mash was trapped by Abyss with his unique spell, Force Field. Mash's body was slowing down, and he was unable to block the attack. Then Abyss said that his movements in the Force Field are increased, and in contrast, those of his opponents are slowed down. Abyss thought Mash couldn't win, but he managed to destroy the ground. Following this, Mash launched the counterattack, and he managed to corner Abyss. Abyss couldn't believe that Mash could use so much power. Although his body is slowed down. Then Mash flexed all his muscles and showed him the power of his One Punch Man workout. Abyss was slammed against the ceiling, and Mash broke his spell. Mash then inflicted incredible pain on Abyss with his attacks, but he didn't give up. He used his last strength and tried to defeat Mash. Mash successfully repelled his attack and showed him the true power of steroids. Mash slammed Abyss against the walls, and he couldn't escape the attacks. Mash then ended the fight with a John Cena move that shook the entire floor. Abyss was defeated, and he wished he had been born without the Devil Eye. He was sad that his parents feared him and locked him in a prison cell. Also, Abyss had to spend his life alone without any love. One day, his mother even tried to murder him. Ever since that day, Abyss has wished that he had never been born. Mash felt sorry for Abyss about his childhood and offered to become his friend. Abyss didn't believe Mash. He might also start fearing him because of his eye. At some point, Mash said he's not afraid of his devil's eye. Also, Mash invited him to eat cream puffs together and went on to save Lemon. After that, we see a guy sent by Wahlberg who has a secret mission. We then see Dot and Finn, their enemies, and Milo leave the room. Following that, Love Cute asked the two boys if they found her cute. Dot didn't want to admit it, but Love Cute was his type. Dot then apologized for choosing Lemon as his bride-to-be. Love Cute couldn't believe Dot didn't fall in love with her. As a result, she wanted to kill Dot, and she attacked them. Dot realized their power difference was huge, and he could barely resist her spell. Love Cute got angry because the boys should have complimented her. Then Love Cute repeated her question, and Finn didn't understand why Dot apologized again. Suddenly, Dot was injured by her tornado spell. She said her father allowed her to beat everyone up if they didn't coddle her. So Dot replied that her father was stupid, and he attacked the enemy with a blast spell. Love Cute failed to block Dot's unpredictable attacks. Suddenly Dot tried to steal her staff, but she managed to dodge him in time. Then she looked down on Dot for being weak. She told Dot that Milo activated a spell that would petrify anyone who went through the secret door, so they only had 30 minutes, or Mash would be petrified. Then Dot was further attacked by strong wind magic. Love Cute said that she feels sorry for Mash because all of his friends are weaklings. Also, Love Cute called Mash and his stupid friends for trying to defeat Abel. Meanwhile, Dot could hardly breathe, and he understood that she is way too strong. Suddenly, Dot remembered his childhood. He was bullied because he was weak and gave up immediately. His sister told him to fight back, but he always thought the bullying was only going to get worse. Suddenly, Dot's sister said that if he finds a true friend, he's not allowed to give up immediately because his friend would be in trouble if he gave up immediately. So Dot recalled the day he met Mash, who wanted to help him through his injuries. Meanwhile, Love Cute wanted to beat up Finn. Suddenly, Dot managed to break out of the tornado. He was angry because Love Cute insulted his friend Mash for being stupid. As a result, Dot's cross was shining. and he managed to block Love Cute's attack with ease. Love Cute was shocked by the symbol of his head. She once heard that some wizards are born who can transform into berserks with a cross on the head. Dot was one of the magicians born with the cross. Then Dot activated his machine gun X-bomb spell, and he was furious. Following this, Dot fired all of his flaming projectiles at Love Cute. He had a plan and missed her on purpose. He then said that he does hurt girls. His enemy thanked him and was happy that she was spared. Finn wanted to congratulate Dot on his victory. Suddenly, Milo attacked him, but Dot sacrificed himself to save his friend. After that, Milo showed up. He was angry because Love Cute was defeated by a one-line magician. Milo looked down at Finn and Dot, and he attacked them both with a stone spell. Love Cute was convinced that Milo would win. Suddenly, Milo was attacked by a sword, and he was instantly defeated. Then the Divine Visionary Ray names appeared. Milo and the others were surprised to see a Divine Visionary. Then Milo tried to attack Rain from behind, but he immediately destroyed his spell. He had no respect for Milo and attacked him with powerful sword spells. Milo then understood that he didn't stand a chance and tried to apologize. Rain didn't care about his apology and continued to punish Milo. He said that Milo is a little boy, and he should learn not to hurt others without a reason. Meanwhile, Dot was shocked that Rain belonged to the Adler dorm. Then Rain said they should go ahead while he teaches Milo a lesson. Finn was shocked to see his big brother. Later, Rain went on to look for the henchman of Innocent Zero. Suddenly, Mash appeared and Rain could feel a strong aura from Mash, even though he has no magic. As a result, he wanted to use a spider to measure the true magical power of Mash. Mash was confused, and the spider tried to measure Mash's magical power. Then Mash was attacked with a huge sword, but Mash blocked the attack. The spider couldn't detect any magic in Mash's body. As a result, Rain attacked again. Mash built a chair out of the swords. The spider was confused by Mash. Rain wanted to make sure that Mash didn't belong to Innocent Zero's henchmen. On the third attack, Mash used a sword to deflect the attacking swords like a baseball. Mash successfully deflected the attack, and Rain asked for Mash's name. When Rain heard Mash's name, he remembered Principal Wahlberg's words. Then Rain apologized for his rude behavior. Mash declined the apology and was given a magic tissue as compensation. He was shocked by the bunnies and thanked him. Afterwards, Rain said to be careful because Abel is a dangerous magician. Rain then wished Mash good luck and said to take care of himself. He then said goodbye, and Mash was surprised that he wasn't a bad guy. Rain believed Mash had a chance to become the next Divine Visionary. After that, Mash then wanted to save his girlfriend Lemon, and he smashed the door. Then he entered the room, and Abel was waiting for Mash. Abel was impressed because Mash managed to defeat Abyss with his Devil Eye. Abel had a suspicion about him, so Mash was afraid his secret would be exposed. Then Abel said that despite Mash's strength, he doesn't accept equality for the weak. Mash asked if he meant the weak people without magic. Abel replied that he is correct, and that he firmly believes in disposing of all humans without magical powers. Then Mash learned that currently all people without magic are only excluded from society, but Abel planned to execute them. Mash recalled his childhood. He was athletic, even as a baby. In his childhood, he was loved by his father, although he was not his real son. Mash understood that he could not become friends with Abel because of their different goals. Then Love Cute returned to the hideout, and she discovered a broken door. She was shocked to see Mash fight against Abel. However, Mash repelled the puppets' attacks, and the puppets' bodies were filled with acid. Suddenly, Mash used to destroy dolls' heads as a bowling ball. He braced himself for his attack. As a result, he eliminated the dolls with a puppet head like they were bowling. Suddenly, Mash asked if Abel would become a weakling himself after his victory. Mash learned that the magical power of Lemon is almost absorbed. Then Abel told him the strong made the law, and he ordered stronger puppets to attack Mash. Love Cute thought that Mash will lose against Abel, but Mash easily destroyed the strongest dolls. Mash then asked Abel to reveal Lemon's location if he defeated him. Abel looked down on Mash, and he was able to control Mash's body. As a result, Mash beat himself up for becoming Abel's puppet. When Mash nearly choked himself, Abel released his spell. Suddenly Finn appeared, who was transformed into a doll. Abel planned for Mash to fight against his best friend. Mash refused, and Abel threatened to cut Finn into pieces. Mash wasn't impressed, and he refused to beat up his friend. Then Finn attacked Mash, and he didn't want to fight back. Suddenly, Abel realized the weapons Finn used had been destroyed. Then Mash took his gold coin out of his coat. Mash used his gold coin and was able to free his friend Finn from Abel's spell. Also, the gold coin flew back to Mash, and he said that the coin really liked him. Abel was furious, and he activated his spell to regain control of Mash's body. So Abel said to Mash that he had no chance of winning. Also, Mash was called a weak puppet. Mash replied that he would take revenge for his friends and would win against him. After that, Mash attacked Abel with his knee and injured the enemy in the face. Abel activated a new spell, and he turned Mash into a puppet. As a result, Mash was transformed into a human puppet controlled by Abel. Abel looked down on him, and he wanted to steal the gold coin from Mash. Suddenly, Abel realized the coin had been swapped with a cream puff, and he was attacked. Mash was surprised himself that his cream puff was in his pocket, and everyone was confused. Abel couldn't believe that Mash could interrupt the transformation because the consciousnesses in his body were separated from each other. Then Abel realized that Mash possessed the Ultra Instinct, which lets him attack on his own. Mash did not require awareness of his attacks, and Abel was shocked at this knowledge. So Abel decided to use his most powerful spell against Mash to destroy him. Abel then cast a spell and could fight Mash back. Abel summoned a spooky doll. His arm puppet had the ability to turn everyone within 100 meters into a puppet. Abel explained that his magic with invisible threads would catch him. Then his spell started, and Mash was attacked by invisible threads. Abel said he's strong for an ordinary person, but he doesn't stand a chance against him. Abel was suddenly shocked when Mash just destroyed his doll. Also, Mash was not turned into a puppet, even though the threads were invisible. Meanwhile, Love Cute shocked herself by watching Mash contort his body. Mash was able to destroy the threads with just his instincts, and Abel was afraid. He thought Mash wasn't human and angrily attacked Mash. Following this, Mash destroyed his giant doll with a powerful punch. He also snuck up behind Abel with his super speed. Mash then ended the fight and used his WWE skills to smash Abel into the ground. Shortly before Abel's defeat, we learned that his mother is a kind-hearted person. She was nice to everyone, and yet she was murdered by ordinary people. She was always helping the weaker ones, but a man murdered his mother for being a nice woman. Ever since his mother was murdered, Abel hated the world. So Abel had formed a team that included only the strongest in society. He couldn't believe he wasn't able to get rid of the lowly humans. Mash said that there are always bad people in the world. Abel wanted to keep his promise and set everyone free. Then Mash wasn't angry with Abel, because he was just sad that his mother was murdered. After that, Mash successfully managed to save Lemon. Finn also woke up and was happy to find Lemon and Mash unharmed. Abel was defeated and wanted to live a normal life. Meanwhile, Mash and his friends were celebrating his victory. Finn thanked him for rescuing them. Lemon then also thanked him for rescuing her. Later, Dot also appeared, and they were very happy about the victory. Later, we see Lance walking, but Rain attacks him. He immediately realized that an enemy had turned into Lance. Next, Rain wanted to know why the criminals of Innocent Zero organization are in the Eastern School. The enemy replied that he was looking for something. Suddenly, he said he has no time and will kill Abel first, followed by the serial killer. John Pierre appeared and wanted to fight Rain, and the other criminals were on their way to Mash and his friend. After that, we see the moment when Abyss became Abel's ally. Abel said that he gives Abyss a purpose in life. In this way, he became a true friend of Abel. Meanwhile, Regro was worried about his son, Mash. Brad was worried too, hoping Mash would make it to the Divine Visionary. Then we see Mash and his friends celebrating the victory. They performed a dance and called Mash a hero. Meanwhile, Abel and Love Cute watched them. Suddenly, Mash said he needed to go to the bathroom. So Mash went to the toilet, and his friends were happy about Mash's victory. Suddenly, they were wondering where Lance was, and a guy appeared. The enemy pushed them to the side. Dot was angry, but he immediately sensed the enemy's danger. Then Abel was asked if he had lost. Cell War found his defeat amusing, and he wanted to kill Abel. He used a spell, and Abel strangled himself. After that, He said that Abel is useless and now he will die. Suddenly, Mash showed up with cream puffs to celebrate his victory. Then Lemon and his friends said that now was not the time for a celebration. Mash was confused, and an insect landed on his face. Suddenly, Mash had to sneeze, and all the cream puffs flew into the Cell War face. Abel was rescued, but Mash told the guy that he wanted the cream puffs back. Cell War got angry, and he threw all the cream puffs on the ground. Suddenly, Cell War got a headache because he sensed a suspicious power. Before taking care of Mash, he wanted to Following this, Abel was immobilized with a spell. He then attacked Abel with a powerful spell, but Abel was saved. Abyss showed up in time, and he apologized that he might not be able to eat cream puffs with Mash in the future. Mash got angry and gave Abyss the magic tissue from Rain. Meanwhile, Cell War was amazed at Mash stopping his attack with a rock. As a result, Abyss wasn't dead, and he respected Mash's power. Cell War then looked down on Abel, but Mash began to launch his attack. Mash attacked Cell War with a huge rock. Cell War was able to intercept Mash's attack, and he licked the stone. Following this, Mash threatened to beat up Cell War if he got in his way of trying to take Abyss to the hospital room. Cell War said Abyss has 30 minutes left until he bleeds to death. Then Mash was attacked, and he deflected all attacks with his fists. When Mash was hit, Cell War looked down at Mash. He then attacked with an even stronger spell, and Abel thought they hadn't any chance to win. So Abel remembered his mother's words. Back in the present, Mash continued to be attacked and tried to protect Abel and Abyss. Abel wondered why Abyss rescued him. So Mash explained to Abel that Abyss was always lonely, and he accepted him as a friend. Mash then said he would save him no matter what. Suddenly, Abel remembered the goals of his mother. Abel was touched by Mash's words and gained hope. Abyss suddenly tried to tell him something. He remembered being feared by everyone, but Abel accepted him as a friend. He wasn't afraid of him and thought his eye was great. Then he told Abel to flee, but Abel didn't want to lose a loved one again. Meanwhile, Mash was fend off the attacks, and he had no way to counter Cell War. Dot knew Mash was in trouble and wanted to help him. Unfortunately, Lemon and Finn would be injured if he tried to distract Cell War. Then Cell War began to cast even stronger spells to end the fight. Mash kept trying to fend off the rocks thrown at him, and Dot despaired because he couldn't help his friend. As a result, Mash was almost hit, but Abel protected Mash in time. He understood that his actions were wrong. As a result, he wanted to fight with Mash together and defeat Cell War. The enemy was surprised, and he immediately destroyed Abel's giant doll with his powerful spells. When Abel's doll was destroyed, Mash emerged from the head. He hit Cell War with an uppercut, but the enemy wasn't injured. After that, Mash was asked about his magic. Mash replied that his magic is strong muscles. The enemy showed him a magic mirror. The reason was he possessed a magic reflecting mirror that reflects the caster spell with double the power. Dot said that all wizards were afraid of the magic item, and he tried to warn Mash. Cell War asked Mash to use his magic against him. Suddenly, Mash attacked him with a powerful kick and destroyed the mirror. Everyone was shocked that he hadn't used magic. All of his friends realized Mash had never used magic before. They were shocked by the truth of Mash's power. Mash's friends were confused about his power. Following this, we see that Cell War is unharmed. Also, a magic mark appears on his hand, which was activated by touching Mash. Cell War understood that Mash is strong. After that, he revealed that his name is Cell War. After that, he said goodbye for now, and he disappeared with a spooky spell. Next, Mash wanted to take Abyss to the hospital room, but Abel said Mash had saved him with the bunny tissue. Also, Abyss said he would invite Mash to a cream puff. After that, Abel thanked Mash for helping him. Later, his friends told him that he could get into trouble because he couldn't use magic. Mash was terrified and shaking with fear. His friends wanted to keep his secret so Mash wouldn't be expelled from school. Mash thanked his friends and confirmed that he can't use magic. Suddenly, a student woke up, and he wanted to snitch on Mash to the teachers. The student didn't accept a non-magic student. Mash didn't know how to solve the problem. As a result, he just ate a cream puff to relax. Meanwhile, Cell War was in a palace, and he was reporting to his father about Mash. So, the leader of the evil organization started their evil plan.
Take you